Okay, we can podcast. Thank you for listening to
Of
me.
course. Yeah, Did you get a chance to see Companion?
No, not
Okay.
yet.
All right. We won't talk about it then.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say we could talk about it later, but we won't
Yeah,
now. So as
not
far
this
as the
time.
listener is concerned, this is happening only immediately after the theme song finishes playing to lead us into the ramping up toward the show beginning, which they're, I'm sure, just like chomping at the bit about.
Oh
Like,
yeah, they
wow.
can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah, you saw the name of the episode, you saw the episode title, you saw the subject matter, you're wondering like where could this go?
Where could this go
Where
indeed?
could it go? Ahoy listeners! This is Debut Buddies. It's a fortnightly podcast about firsts. My name is Nate, and I'm one of the buddies.
And I'm Kelly. I'm the other buddy.
You are the other buddy and another buddy.
Yeah.
This particular episode, listeners, we are down a buddy. Chelsea can't be here, and we'll have her back. Don't worry.
Yeah.
This is we're gonna stretch our spooky conspiratorial legs, our limbs, our arms. We're gonna get the neck loosened up with all the interesting mysteries that are out there in the world, and
And that's Chelsea's out there doing field research.
Yes.
She's in the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah,
is where she is.
Yeah, we recently heard from Chelsea that she was going to enter the Bermuda Triangle. She found what appeared to be a floating mass of black goo, and it seemed to be alive. We were encouraging her to get as close as possible to see what
And
happens.
she was down.
And she was very excited about it. And I, for one, see zero consequences on the horizon, so we're very excited. Yeah. Yeah, if we're able to establish a satellite feed, maybe she'll pop into the episode. It's unlikely, though. So you're stuck with
Only
a
time will tell.
dynamic duo of debut buddies, a debuo, deb
Keep
duo.
going.
A deb duo is better. A deb duo.
Got it.
Look, here's the thing. We're talking about the first ever Mysteries of the Unknown book from the Time Life publishing series. I don't know, listeners, if you have ever heard of these, but back in the 1980s, companies, specifically Time Magazine and Life Magazine, which were two entities that existed that weren't part of Time Warner Cable / now Comcast, all Comcast, I think.
Yeah.
It's all, it's some stuff's Warner Brothers, some stuff's Comcast, but everything's kind of one thing now.
Yeah.
Capitalism,
Which is
we're fucked.
capitalism.
Right?
Yeah. Everything is kind of one thing.
We're fucked.com.
Yeah.
They put out these book series where they're like, hey, you guys love the Encyclopedia Americana and the Encyclopedia Britannica. They give you the opportunity to buy 26, 30, 80 volumes of just pages of information, right? And
Just
then
however
Time Life.
many you want, really.
Yeah, yeah. If you just want to read GE through GI, you can buy that. That can happen. That can happen for you. Just like Germs and Giants. That's it.
That's
your
it.
volume.
That's kind of all you need.
It is. It is kind of what you need.
Germs and Giants.
It covers everything, right? Another thing that happened is you would be able to get classic television shows on video cassette. So I'm just going to segue into some of my experience, which was my dad. I used to work for my dad. I worked with him as a kid. It was kind of like a tag along during the summer thing, hand tools, whatever, right? So we'd go to people's houses, and one of the people's houses we worked on, they had a basement that was, a sort of preternatural man cave, I suppose. They had the shelves, and the shelves had there were a bunch of sports almanac books and things. They also had the complete series of the television show MASH, which ran for 14 years, or it ran for an incredibly long time.
And this is VHS?
And it was all on VHS. So
holy smokes.
Imagine you can get 4 episodes on an individual cassette. So there was 70 video cassettes just filling
That's incredible.
this wall. And then I believe they had copies of this Mysteries of the Unknown series as well, because I can remember looking at some of them. And there was something very nostalgic about this particular book. So we have each got copies. Thank you, Kelly, for
Yeah.
tracking these down.
No
Copies
prob.
of book one of Mysteries of the Unknown from Time Life, titled Mystic Places.
Do 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 do.
That was good. That was good.
Okay,
Move
so
over,
you think that you would,
Rockapella.
debut buddies, debut album coming out soon.
That's right. It's just that for like on a loop for 45 minutes.
70 VHS tapes.
But there's a secret track. So after 45 minutes of that song, there's 45 minutes of silence followed by a reprise of that song.
Yeah. It's
You're gonna
the in a minor key. So wait, you think that you had looked at these before?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had. I'm pretty sure I had
Hell
seen
yeah.
at least one of them because there's some kind of standard publishing stylistic choices in these books.
Yeah, big time.
Those being the like silver metallic accents on some of the things.
It
and
looks like
then-
a scratch off. It looks like you should scratch
Yeah.
off to reveal something beneath it. But don't do that,
because
listeners.
the unknown is in the book. You don't have to dig
Yeah.
through the pages to get to it.
Oh my
but yeah,
God. Or do you think
the silver, the way that the images are set up, the sort of insets and the font choices, all very familiar to me. And of course, the pyramid with the Sphinx and the all-seeing
Yes.
eye on the cover, classic
Yes.
imagery.
very conspiratorial. So, listeners, if you are unfamiliar with these books, you maybe don't recognize the name, but I think that you would recognize the covers if you did. Maybe not the covers specifically, like, oh, Mystic Places has the Sphinx on it, but like the style of them, like Nate was saying, is iconic. It's like the covers are all black. The title is more shiny silver, and then a stark image on the front. Not the image isn't stark, but in comparison to the black, it's very striking. And it's like there's no author on it.
No,
so it's just like
this is
the
a
name of the book.
collaboration of two. For context, in the 1980s, Time and Life would have been two of the most trusted and beloved magazines in the United States of America. Like,
Yep.
you would go to Time magazine to get your hot conservative takes on politics and to find out who the man of the year was, because it sure as hell was never going to be a woman in 1987.
No.
But it will be Hitler, and also new Hitler.
Yeah. And also you.
And also you.
Remember when they
'Cause
did
there's
the
a mirror on
like,
the front. They were
reflective-
like,
yeah.
you're
It's
the person
you.
of the year. It's you.
This is cheap.
And then of course,
Pick
Life,
someone, cowards.
and then Life magazine was like the journalistically critical and veritable version of People magazine. Like
Yeah.
Life talked about what was going on in the country, but also, it dug into like Camelot era Kennedy presidency stuff. Like it was a way to bear witness to the world in a less sort of thick way than Time did, because Time was a little more like, well, this is what the serious people read, and Life was a little bit like, well, you're serious, but you like pictures too.
Yeah. Boy, do I.
Right? So you bring these things together into these books, and they put out these series of books that are also lovingly sort of embossed on the leatherette cover that has like it just, the whole thing feels luxe, and you can imagine how you'd be up at night or even during the day, these infomercials would run saying like, hey, you can call us now, you can start getting these Time Life books, you're gonna get the first one for free, then we're gonna send you the next one for like $1, and then after that they're $40 each or some absurd shit like that. I don't remember the actual
Yeah,
cover price.
I don't know. $1 million.
But they were that infomercial was on all the time. I also remember that very well because it had the energy of the X-Files opening credits sequence, but not.
That's so
But it wasn't
fun.
as foreboding, right? But it was still this thing of like, you're going to enter into
So
all of the mysteries of the unknown. You don't know what's happening. Call this.
Yeah, it's like learn
800
what they
number.
don't want you to know.
Exactly. And you know that they don't want you to know it for a good reason because you trust the Time Life people. And so they're
Yeah,
going
of
to tell
course.
you the truth and also the truth with air quotes. So this book series exists. I always found it intriguing as a kid. I can remember being like, man, that's got to be really cool. Think about all
Yeah.
that stuff, right? And especially this is pre-internet, obviously. This is really like pre-home video in a mass marketable sense where like, you could go rent movies at the video store, but it wasn't as if like everybody bought movies when they came out because video
No.
cassettes were still like hundreds of dollars and things,
They
right?
were so expensive.
Yeah.
And the players, my God.
Yes.
This is back when people were renting VHS players from the video store
Yeah.
because they were so cost prohibitive.
Yeah, you go drop like $25 for the weekend. You get to watch
Yeah.
Goonies and Raiders of the Lost Ark, maybe
Oh,
Empire
hell
Strikes
yeah.
Back, and then you got to return it all and go back to your shitty normal life where all you have is like a regular TV with rabbit ears and
TV.
cigarette smoke. That's it. That's all we've got.
It's funny you mentioned cigarette smoke. My copy smells like cigarettes.
Mine kind of does too.
Oh,
And
maybe that's just what it's made of. Maybe
was
it was
wondering,
printed on cigarette paper.
Yeah, I feel a little bit like it has the delicious scent of an old musty book, right? Like it's starting,
Yeah.
it's just in that zone. Because every time I would be reading it over the last
No, mine's
week
cigarettes.
and a
Mine's
half.
just cigarettes.
I mean, in fairness, someone who had these on a shelf in the basement was probably also smoking cigarettes inside.
Oh, absolutely. Like I know how it happened.
Yeah, I could go either way on whether mine smells like cigarettes or just old paper, but it's definitely.
And I think yours is probably old
It
paper.
has a very potent smell to it.
Mine's like repugnant.
Aw, that's too bad because it otherwise appears to be a copy in beautiful condition.
It is. Yeah, it looks great. Just don't put it too close to your face.
Yeah. Do not breathe it or
Yeah.
hold it around young children.
Oh my God, do you think it was the smoking man? Okay.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he was like, Mulder, I need to put
What does
this.
Mulder
I need to
know?
put this in the secret warehouse.
Yeah.
Where
I'll
we
file
store-
this under M for Mystic.
Yeah, I got to do that. But then he started thumbing through it. He's like, you know what? Actually, I'm going to keep this for my own.
I'm gonna sit here and
stash."
read.
Yeah. Maybe there's stuff I don't know. I'm only one cigarette smoking man, after all.
Yeah. Nah, he knows everything. He worked in the book depository. By the grassy knoll.
Yeah, I got it. I was with you.
Okay.
I'm into it.
Okay, got it. So, okay, what did you expect going into this? Because I was very like, I thought it was going to be geared more towards children. Not like children, but I thought it was going to skew young. I thought this was going to be like YA mysteries.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, I had the cheat of like having seen that infomercial so much,
Yeah,
and this
yeah,
being
that's
so
true.
part of my childhood that I remember it being a distinctly adult experience.
Yeah,
I got
okay.
pretty much exactly what I was expecting,
Oh, good.
which is like this feels to me like a mix of the TV show Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes,
and
big time.
There was that show Jonathan Frakes hosted, Riker from Star Trek: The Next Generation, where he's like, "Would you believe that a man could give birth to a baby?" Well, if you said yes, you'd be right. And then he would tell you this story that was kind of
False.
anecdotal. Right. And like, so I was going in expecting that. And it really does deliver. Like stylistically,
Yeah.
it feels like, and I actually did this a couple of times while I was reading it. If you sort of embody the cadence of that kind of show and read it aloud,
Damn.
it is very much like any of those cheesy sort of late night documentary things where they're going to say a lot, but they don't actually say anything. It's kind
They
of
don't
like,
say anything.
It's kind of like, hey, let me give you a list of all the people who thought this was something and all the nutty things they said, and then end with, and you know what? We still don't really know, but the important thing is we still dream.
Yeah, it's very much like, damn, wonder slaps.
Yeah. It absolutely is. It is so lovingly towing the line of we're telling you some stuff, but we're not telling
Yeah.
you anything revelatory. Though I did learn a lot. I mean, there was a lot in here where it's like,
Yeah,
oh, I didn't know that specific thing. We'll get into it a little bit more as because I think we should kind of go through each chapter a little bit
I agree.
together. But there's some elements that I wasn't aware of that were interesting to find out. There were some elements where I was like, oh, this is an anecdote that in 1987 would have been totally appropriate as worded, and in 2025, not so much.
It's a little bit problematic,
Yeah.
though I will say significantly less problematic than I expected.
It's really not gross. A lot of it comes down to word choices that we no longer use, right? Like
Right, yeah.
things like that. And then the
And then we don't get a female protagonist until page 112.
also true. Yeah. Yeah. We don't get
Yeah.
we don't get a lot of non-Western experience. And the book is
No,
predicated
huh?
almost entirely on believing white men who seem completely incredulous.
Yes. Yeah. But it's fun. How much did you know already? Like, how much were you like, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it? Tell me something new.
I would say probably about 50% of this. I was like, yeah, I've heard that already. I've
Yeah.
already seen something about this, or I've read something about it before. I think that it was the Atlantis section and the megalith section where I had the least knowledge, where I was like, oh, this is kind of
Yeah.
neat. Now, I mean, the tricky thing is both of those things are also the ones, maybe the two sections where we have the least actual information because
Yes.
they so far predate written history that there isn't a lot to go on.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Well, and Atlantis was probably fakesies.
yeah, probably not real. It is. I mean, it's effectively like just a parable to prevent the very
Yeah.
political circumstances we're living under in 2025 America.
100%. Yep. It's a cautionary tale.
Yeah, yeah.
It's what Atlantis is.
I didn't know the actual dimensions of the Great Pyramid stuff.
Dude, me either.
I knew some of the I had heard some of the theory about it that like yeah, there's astronomy stuff. I mean, because that
Right.
listener spoilers, but the through line for most of these things is like people's before modern people might have built stuff in relation to things that they saw in the sky, and we don't know why, but they also seem to connect to those things, which, I came away begging the question of why at no point in history anybody's ever been like, what if people are just like really creative and like pretty stuff?
Yeah.
What if the
I
goal
know.
was, I'm going to make a giant like dirt mound snake so that every year on the solstice it looks like the snake is spitting the sun out of its mouth.
Yeah.
And it's an art performance project. And they're like, no,
The
it has
whole
to be
time.
something about that. Like,
The whole time I was reading it, I was like, have you guys ever heard of a special interest? Because that's what all of this is. This is just people with an obsession going, like, they didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
They had rocks in the desert that they could make cool shapes with.
Well, and
This is just an obsession.
the other thing, just to keep pounding on the dead horse, is like it predates capitalism in most cases.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if your life isn't dictated by your job and the productivity related to your job, you go make other weird shit because you can and you figure out how, right? And
Great
this is
point.
mostly
Great point.
the movement of rocks and dirt, not something that requires a lot of capital investment.
Yeah.
Other than you need a bunch
Yeah.
of friends, right? If it's the Great Pyramids, depending on how they actually
That's
came
a bigger.
together. Yeah,
Yeah.
which I mean, we know historically that slavery was the culprit there more than likely. So
It was absolutely slavery.
It's not,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
as if anybody is going like, you know what we need to do is spend a lot of money to put our hobbies together. It's like, no, what I've got is I can see the moon and I can see that if I put these rocks on top of each other, it looks like they're pointing at the moon, and I like that. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, this is dope. I could just imagine the people building Stonehenge being like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Do you want to get real drunk and move some rocks around?
Yeah, some berries fell in
Yeah,
this
man.
water, and it fucks you up. It's kind of cool. So,
Hell yeah, I'll drink it.
Let's move some rocks. Yeah, it's
Let's move some rocks.
that was my big thing, was just like, why at no point in history has anybody ever been like, is it possible that this was done for fun? That this was done for the sense of creation, that somehow, because I have an easier time putting myself in those shoes of being like, hey, I'm a person in the past. I subsist on whatever food I can find. I might just be like farming, but like my life isn't dictated by these kinds of like goals. You're not living in a goal setting era. You're living in like my life's purpose is I'm alive until I'm not, and I don't really understand
Right.
how anything works, but spooky lights happen in the sky, and I want to do a cool thing with them or for them or whatever.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be directly motivated by this sense of religious fealty, or because we're starting a cult. Like, I mean, maybe they were.
Right.
Maybe they were.
Totally. We don't know. We don't know. But I do think that, yeah, like you were saying, the overall through point through this book was, or through line through the ley line
The
through
ley
this
line.
book was like, this is all so big. These are like such big ideas that like some huge conspiracy that we'll never know. And it's like, no, man, sometimes people are just people. That's a big part of people. People be people in all throughout history.
We're always people in, and yeah, it's
Like, do you remember that guy who was making monoliths in the desert? They cropped up during the
yeah.
pandemic,
Did we
during
ever figure
lockdown.
out who it was? I don't remember if we did.
I thought so. I thought that it was, although maybe this was just like maybe it was just one of them and not all of them. There was an artist who was making them, though that doesn't really explain why they disappeared. You know what? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we didn't figure it out.
I mean, yeah, but
like
your point
that is a
taken.
megalith.
Yes, yeah, your point is taken. I mean, the some of it is like, I guess, okay, obviously people have always been curious about these things. The
Yeah.
thing the book is good at doing is laying out each person's theory as they came in chronological order, to the extent that this book collects them, because I'm sure there were hundreds of other people who talked about each of these things and were
Oh, for
either
sure.
more laughed at or more respected or whatever, and they just didn't make these pages.
Well, and probably new stuff since the 80s.
Sure,
When did this
yeah.
come out? 80.
87, so it's
87.
almost 50 years old.
No, stop that. I came out in 88. It's only 37 years old.
Well, okay. Yeah, I guess it's almost 40. So that's better. It's almost 40.
It's 37.
Yes, correct. It is 37 exactly, and there's no need to advance the clock. So yeah, there's stuff that's not in here, obviously, and yeah, it's just this idea that our connection to these things. I sort of wonder what the pop culture connection to this is, and how much something like 2001: A Space Odyssey, which comes out in 1968 and features a very important monolith,
Yep.
how much that skews people's perspectives on things, because that's part of what we're doing. Like these books are steering into an audience that has been primed by a lot of pop culture energy. Plus, literally
yeah.
all of the Indiana Jones books are about this too, right? Like Raiders of
Yep.
the Lost Ark is finding the real Ark of the Covenant by digging in the desert in Egypt and finding a secret tomb wherein you make a magic staff that catches the light the right way through a gem and illuminates a tomb and causes magic. Like, it's all magic. The idea that everything from the past was magic or aliens, and those are the only two options. It could not be anything else.
Here's my theory. Those are one and the same, my friend.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously. Let's not be silly. Of course, it is magic aliens. And
it's
or
magic
alien
aliens.
magic.
It's aliens. And then, yeah, this was all so popular in the zeitgeist through the 70s and the 80s, and probably to an extent in the 60s. Probably, I just am less familiar with the history there. But like People were but that's not even like the first time this has happened, right? Like we had the spiritualism craze
Oh,
in the
sure.
1800s. Like people are just obsessed with this. And when you mentioned 2001, it made me think like asking why people of olden day may have created these megaliths or these earth drawings is the same as asking why do we make movies? Like people
Yeah.
sometimes just have something in them that they got to create. They got to create it.
I mean
And
that
maybe it was bigger than that. I don't know.
no, I think you've okay. I think we've hit on two potentially very fascinating points, right? You go back to spiritualism and things, and you go back to in the 60s, you've got this sort of renewed focus on spiritualism that comes from free love and hippiedom and mind expanding drugs, but also from a period of unrest where there are
Yeah.
questions about what's going on with humanity that can't really be answered in a convenient or simple way, right? The world is chaos. The sort of spiritual eras come on the heels of the Civil War and the Great Depression and World War One.
Yeah.
So you're looking at another time where it's like, I don't know what's going on with people. The world is really fucked up. There has to be an answer somewhere that isn't us, which
Oh my
makes a
God.
lot of sense. And this would have come out in the 80s when it would have been like, hey, look, we've got like the Cold War is at a fever pitch. We're not
Yep.
sure if we're going to make it to the end of the century. We've turned so
Yeah.
strictly toward Reaganomics and kind of hard right defense focused ideology that we're no longer even thinking about each other. We're kind of it's like everybody just isolate in your little houses and try to figure out what the truth is. And then, yeah, now we're in a similar state
We're
of
seeing it
wild
again.
upheaval, and everybody's getting further and further into all kinds of wild shit, whether it's listening to whatever Joe Rogan has said and thinking it's a good idea to do, or just like buying crystals or whatever else, right? Like
Yeah. We're doing spiritualism again.
we are.
And unfortunately, a lot of people are doing it in racist ways again. Come
Yes.
on, guys.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I mean, that's the thing, right? Is that if you can't figure out how to control the world, you try to find answers somehow that allow you to control the world in ways that make you comfortable. Because
Lame.
we're all just afraid. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We all don't want to die, and we're afraid of what the future
Well,
is.
speak for yourself,
Well, I mean,
mate.
yeah. Look, both of us are well willing to die, and
Yeah.
it will come for us, and that's fine. That's what it is. But yeah, generally speaking, yeah, people are terrified, and they have a really hard time coping with that. So I think a lot of these things get redug up, and then
Yeah.
we don't think about our creations, because you mentioned like movies as these kinds of artifacts, and the fact that yeah, in 200 years, if somebody found 2001 on film,
Yeah.
they would be trying to figure out how to do the technology to watch it, and
Who did this?
they would be astonished. They'd be like, well, what is this? What is this saying? This is clearly some sort of communication with a higher
Yeah.
being. They're trying to say something to someone, and it's like, no, well, maybe, but this was also just entertainment, which goes back to kind of the premise and question we have, which is like, just because these things were made of physical, like in the physical world in a different way than
Yeah,
like
exactly.
thousands of TikToks or something, they don't necessarily have to be infinitely more important than those thousands of TikToks.
Right. Like it's just people. It was still just people,
Yeah.
probably. Or was it aliens? I don't know.
Maybe it was aliens, but the aliens could
Could have
still
been
do
aliens.
TikToks, and they don't have to be important just because the aliens did them.
Dude, can you imagine the alien TikTok dances with all their like limbs and stuff?
Oh yeah, they got tentacles. They got like a
Yeah, they're just
weird
like
eye stalks. It would be great.
they're doing that like SpongeBob dance where his arms go all wiggly.
You're doing a really good job of it right here, listener.
Thanks.
You would think that your arm was broken. That is terrifying.
It is, surprise.
It's just people.
It's just people.
So yeah, should we jump into this book?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it.
So the book has a total of 5 chapters in it. It's a luxurious 158 pages, including the index and glossary and all of that goodness. But
But it's a quick read,
oh, it's a very
friends.
quick
There's a
read. Yeah.
lot of photos,
Yes, it's
drawings.
it
There's a lot
is
of illustrations.
it is mostly images, and which was great because I was reading this in
Yeah,
chunks at night
smart.
in some situations being a little high, and so it's
Yeah.
good
Oh,
when
got
it's
you.
like, hey, I'm gonna focus, and I don't have to focus for long. Perfect.
Yeah, great. Although I will say I read the first chapter high and then was like, we can't do that again. Where did you go while
The
you were reading that?
the second chapter was particularly difficult to read high because there is so much math and so much discussion
Oh,
of
yeah.
how the pyramids were put together. But the first chapter digs into our old friend Atlantis,
Love it.
and I thought that was pretty fascinating because I did not recall like the layout because they give you the way Atlantis was purported to be geographically laid out, and
Yeah.
then they talk about how Plato maybe was like, hey, look, there was Atlantis. It's cautionary tale. We shouldn't become like them, so don't get too imperialistic or greedy. And then Rome was like, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah.
We will do
Although it
both.
seemed like Plato was like, no, this is for real. I heard it from an Egyptian.
Yeah.
Atlantis existed and it was real. And they got cocky and were sunk into the ocean by the gods.
Yeah, Poseidon was like,
And then,
nope, boom, gone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is like, we've heard that story before. We go listen to our episode on Genesis if you want to hear
Yeah,
another
well, and that's-
flood story.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. Is it's very like it is very Genesis and the flood at the same time,
Yep.
being like, look, there was a paradise. We fucked up. That paradise was literally lost. Hashtag Milton. And then the interesting thing that I also didn't know was that the story continues to be like, what if the surviving Atlanteans went everywhere?
Yeah.
And so the book
Oh, you hadn't heard that part. Okay.
I mean, if I had, I had forgotten because I was like, oh shit. So the whole ancient aliens idea here actually is just, they're all Atlanteans. They all ended
Yeah.
up different places. And then they imbued the stupid regular people in all those places with their incredible knowledge before dying. They didn't breed
Before
with
dying.
anybody. They didn't continue their lineage in any sort of memorable way.
Well, I think it said that they did breed, but there was a watering down effect
Sure.
of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
of the divinity. I believe they called it the divinity.
Yeah, because they were super special people, apparently, who were very smart and very industrious, and somehow also completely able to have all of the resources they could ever need in great supply, including the mysterious orichalcum, which is just copper, but it's fun to say orichalcum.
I know. I liked that they said it that way. I
Yeah.
was like, ooh. Although I did take pause. They said that they were chiseling stone with copper tools, and I was like,
It's not going to work very well.
that's got to be some pretty soft stone.
Yeah. It's probably it is probably just sandstone. It's like,
Sandstone? Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll let it pass this time.
But that's one of the many holes in this potential mystery of the unknown.
Yeah.
But
But I did find that it was a little more measured than I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought it was going to go hard on the mystery and then be like, to be continued. But it did a pretty good job of like laying out the myth and then being like, okay, but here's like probably what happened, which is that this town got blown the fuck up by a volcano, which caused a tsunami over here. So it looked to the Egyptians like it was a flood. And then it was like that got told in this way, and that got, blown out of proportion in this way, blown out of the water.
that's right.
So I liked that it was like, here's the mystery, and also here's like a logical thing that we could believe
Yeah.
actually might have happened.
No, it really is. It's written in the style of a textbook from when
Yes.
I most recently remember reading textbooks, which is this. The prose is The prose is generally dry, but it is trying to
Yeah.
do some stuff. It's trying to be kind of fun, but it can't be too fun, right? Because it needs to be
Right.
it needs to be
You got to
serious.
take it serious. Yeah.
And it also doesn't want to be too fun because it wants you to know that you're learning something. So
Right.
it has this tone. And then yeah, the premise that it was like an island near Crete, I think, is what they were saying, is
Yeah.
like an island near Crete could have had a volcanic eruption and it could have like wiped away a city that was on Crete.
Right.
And you would just kind of know of these things vaguely
And
because
that
you would get
was
word.
right. And so that was like a huge metropolis of a city that was like a trade hub. People got their news from there. And so, when you're, thousands of miles away or whatever, one day you experience a tsunami and like ash, right? Like the sky is going to be covered for weeks, maybe longer. I don't really know. And then you never hear from that city again. Like that's crazy. Of
Yeah.
course you'd be like, they were smitten.
Yeah,
They've
yeah.
been smited.
To put it in the context of the Music Man, it would be like the Wells Fargo wagon just never showed up again. And you went, I
Yeah.
suppose Wells Fargo and their wagons have been obliterated from the face of the earth. We don't have any information.
Probably they angered the gods.
But I do like that it is really just kind of weaving together all of the levels of flood myth and things like that. Where it's like, yeah, I mean, you could see how that and what you were describing, there's ash in the air, it's causing this incredible disruption, that
That's so
this combination
scary.
of thing could have been like, oh, well, that was part of the plagues.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there are just a bunch of these elements where it's like, well, yeah, a cascading natural disaster could lead a bunch of people to write down stories about like, oh, all of our crops died, so we're pretty sure we pissed off God.
I'd
And
write it down.
yeah,
That's insane.
'cause
That's
we
crazy.
don't know any better. And literally the only people who
We
used to
still
come
write
on a
it
boat to
down.
tell us what was going on elsewhere have disappeared.
They're gone.
Yeah.
But like, has anybody logged on to Reddit? Like,
Right.
it's just people being like, I think about the drones that were happening in New Jersey.
Yeah.
People were just online being like, the fuck is that? Like, we still just write it down
Yeah, everybody
when we don't know.
and everybody still makes their own myths. And some of that I
Yeah.
think is self-encouraged, right? Because the internet now makes us think that way in ways that aren't
Absolutely.
particularly healthy.
Right.
I will recommend to you. So there's a podcast that I listen to sometime called Behind the Bastards. It's
Okay.
great because he does these deep dives on individual historical figures who are, bastards because they did awful things. And so one of the more recent series is a five-parter or six-parter on Oprah, asking like, is
Oh.
Oprah a bastard? Because
Boy,
there's a
that's
bunch of
complicated.
things around like Satanic Panic and having that on her show, and Dr.
Boy,
Oz and
yeah.
Dr. Phil, and encouraging a lot of these things to exist, and having Jenny McCarthy on to talk about how she cured autism and it was vaccines.
Oh,
how
God,
all of these
yeah.
things layer to be like, well, if you legitimize this type of thinking in one way or another, more people do it. And then now the internet is all that, right? Like there are people on Reddit just all trying to figure out how things work. And it's like, but you don't know that there was an earthquake on the other side of the world. Like you're
It's just an
mistaken.
earthquake. And the internet is worse in a lot of ways, like better in that you can corroborate stories, you can piece things together, you can find out what happened more quickly if it is find outable. But when it's not, or when people double down and insist that it is not, the internet really rewards things
Getting
being
wound
ludicrous.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will share a personal pet peeve example of this is we are recording the Tuesday following the Super Bowl, and every
Congrats
major
and my condolences.
the so Kendrick Lamar was the halftime performer
Love.
and did a great performance. I think it was excellent. Though it's been extremely divisive because,
Yeah.
because some people I think don't listen to rap or hip hop, so they don't get it, and then they don't want to try to enjoy something that's different. So there's that
Yeah.
level, but the other level is CBS NBC, ABC, and ESPN, and several of these other television channels, and Fox, who aired the thing, have all done social media posts being like, rate the Super Bowl halftime show on a scale of 1 to 10, because they know that it's just going to bring out
So
the
much
assholes.
engagement.
Everybody's going to scream at each other. There's going to
Yeah.
be a lot of racism. There's going to be a lot of name calling and all this other shit. And it's just these
But there's
churn
going to be a lot of
posts.
clicks, and there's going to be a lot of ad revenue.
But none of it means anything, which
None of it means anything.
that is the evil downside, right? Because at least when Atlantis is wiped off the earth and Plato tells people that Atlantis existed, the harm is only in that they maybe believe that a fictional thing happened, but they
Yeah.
also pretty much have to continue like feeding their ox and living, or they will
Yeah,
die.
big
They don't
time.
have the luxury of being like, well, cool, you know what I'm going to do is spend all of my resources to make sure that the world around me is polluted with my negative opinions about the idea of Atlantis or not.
Oh God. But here's the thing is I didn't look into any of these chapters further from after this book. Like I've listened to enough weirdo podcasts that I was familiar with most of this. Like down to recognizing researchers, quote unquote researchers' names.
Sure.
Like that's too much, Kelly. Maybe pull back. But I was like, there's like a straight line that I can imagine between Atlantis and the Nazis.
Oh, sure.
So it's like, but was it harmless? Like maybe it wasn't
Well,
on
no,
Twitter.
because
but-
obviously we get later chapter of the book, we get into how much effort Hitler expended to try to capture all of these mystical forces for his use, right?
Vril.
Which is the base. That is the basic premise of Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? Like that movie is about how they need Indiana Jones to go find it because Hitler's trying to find it, and
He was trying to find it.
yeah. And if Hitler gets it, he can destroy everybody because the power of God is apparently a very powerful thing if it exists.
Yeah. I mean, I buy it, I suppose.
One of the last things that about the Atlantis section specifically was I did enjoy the strange section about a farmer named Edgar Casey, who just falls asleep and offers his portentous past life regression dream speaking.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting, but on the page beggars belief because you're like, well, okay, so he's asleep, but then he's also saying these very specifically like messaged lines. They don't seem like they're broken up.
Right. But you know what's weird? They didn't go into it much in this. It said that he started channeling people from the lost city of Atlantis after he had some sort of sickness, maybe, and it changed his voice. He suddenly had a very like whisper, quiet voice.
Like RFK.
And oh God. He sounds more gremlin-y, I think.
Well, yeah, that's the worm.
That's the worm. No, Casey, like, anyway, one of these entities that he channeled told him the cure to it, and then his voice got better after doctors were unable to solve it. Like, what?
I mean, that is something. That is interesting.
I want more info.
Yeah. I mean, that
Fucking, that's a mystery. That's a mystery of the universe.
it is also just a weird question of like, had he
was
sort
faking
of
it beforehand.
Well, I don't even want to say that he was faking it. I mean, he could have been, obviously, but like,
Yeah.
Could he have been in a sort of state of self-suggestion to the point where he believed that he had to talk that way, right? The way,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like how Ariana Grande now has to talk like Glenda, no matter what, until maybe someday when she'll stop doing that.
Or like when Austin, whatever his name, it couldn't break out of Elvis. for like 2 years.
Austin Butler's
Yeah.
stuck in
Butler,
Elvis mode. Yeah. Or just Daniel Day-Lewis hanging out, staying in character.
Daniel
all the
Day-Lewis
time.
is a different. I don't know about him. He's got a plan.
But yeah, so Atlantis. That was interesting. It was interesting that again, it's like yes, almost all of the future since the point of the myth being told, we all know what Atlantis is to the point now where we all associate Atlantis most with Aquaman and an elephant playing drums. Not an elephant,
Oh,
an octopus. That would have been
what?
better if I said it right in the first place, but I'm not going to fix it. An
What
octopus
is,
playing
what
drums.
is, what are you talking about?
In the movie Aquaman,
Oh,
there is an octopus. They have a full
is this
undersea
animated?
band. Well, it's CGI as fuck because it's a superhero movie. So there
Oh,
is
but it's human
yeah,
actors?
yeah.
Oh, and there's an octopus playing drums?
Yeah, there sure is.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Boy, movie magic.
Right?
See, why do people make movies?
Clearly we're trying to commune with the gods of the ancient Atlantis. That's why Aquaman
That's
and
Poseidon.
Aquaman
That's
2 were made.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, incredible.
It really is. The next section, so we get some other cool stuff. There are things about like boats disappearing and kind of like
Oh, because the Bermuda Triangle is a big part of this.
of the Atlantis thing.
Of
Yeah,
that
it's a
chapter.
lovely section.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna kind
Yeah.
of break off and be like, okay, well, if an island disappears, what if anything in an area disappears? So we
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
learn a little bit about some ships whose crews disappeared mysteriously. They're all very like Roanoke Island level things too, where it's just
Big
like
time,
we
yeah.
don't know why everybody was gone. It seemed like everybody was in the middle of something when they disappeared.
Yeah. Like food supplies are left on the ship, so it's not like it was taken over. Like it's just weird.
Yeah.
People got raptured.
Yeah, yeah. Which I mean, maybe they did.
Maybe.
Maybe they fell off.
They could have fallen off.
It's
I don't
interesting.
know.
Maybe they all just got maybe they were all just really sad and so they just jumped over the edge. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, could have been. There was one that was like, it was a captain and his wife and their kid. And I was like, oh, well, he was a family annihilator, is what happened with that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
That
I'm
one makes
just-
sense. The Flying Dutchman one is like cool. So you guys maybe were all drunk at night and you thought you saw a boat in the distance.
Ergot poisoning. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. You all weren't eating oranges, so you got scurvy and hallucinated.
Yeah, you're hallucinating.
We had a flight of American fighter jets from the 40s just disappearing in the Bermuda Triangle.
Okay, that one is weird.
Yeah.
Because it was like, it's the one flight that is radioing another aircraft and like the base back in Florida. And they're like, we can't find land. We can't find the sun.
Yeah, we don't know where we are at all. Yeah, yeah.
We don't know what. That's mysterious. And so they end up just saying, we're going to fly west until we make it
We
somewhere
have
or
to
we
hit
die.
something because yeah, we have an allotment of fuel. We should be able to hit land if we go this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like an ominous message. They were like, we're just going to fly west until we find something or we don't. And lose contact. That ship or that flight disappears. They send out another flight looking for them.
They
Also
disappear.
disappears.
Yeah, yeah.
Wreckage never found for either of them. Like a one-off makes sense to me.
Sure.
When it's redundant like that, that's very curious.
This is where I wonder if it's like, was there like a hurricane that was just
There had
happening
to have
and
been.
nobody understood what was going on, right? You got kind of spun around. Or
Yeah, but it's the 40s.
yeah,
like people know.
We had meteorology at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
like
it's that one.
that's
It's
very
it's
curious.
the other one about in the 70s with the just like the like
Oh, the time travel one?
yeah, the time travel one where the normally hour and a half long flight takes 40 minutes for some reason and they can't explain
Yeah.
why.
Yeah. But he like enters like a cloud tube.
Yeah.
And on the other side, he's like, what? How am I at Miami?
Yeah, how did I get here already? And I didn't even burn all my fuel. This is weird.
But he did mention at some point that the plane was moving, felt like it was being lifted, like it was being pushed forward. So that does sound meteorological.
Yeah, it
Like
seems like maybe you
some
got
sort
like
of
there was a
something.
jet
You
stream
got
or
a
something
sick
behind you.
tailwind. Yeah.
Yeah, you got boosted. You didn't know what
You
was
got
going on,
boosted.
and it was
Cut
confusing.
30 minutes off your trip.
Right. It's like it sounds to me like this isn't a problem, so I don't know why you're telling anybody.
Yeah, why are we
You
complaining?
were
This
early,
sounds
have a
perfect.
drink, and shut up.
Yeah.
But I will say that the Bermuda Triangle was such a big deal. It seemed when I was a kid, and I don't know if it was
Yeah.
this way for you because I am, as previously stated on the podcast, much, much older.
100 years. I'm just a baby. I'm only
It's
36.
true.
No, Bermuda Triangle was huge.
It was such a big
It
deal.
was such a
For
mystery.
one, we'll dip briefly into the MouthGarf report. For one, Garfield on Garfield and Friends brought up the Bermuda Triangle quite a bit. I remember that being
Yeah.
a thing. Like that was a constant thing. And then the Bermuda
That makes
Triangle was
sense.
like an element of popular culture. It was just a thing that existed. It seemed like there were TV shows about it, that
Everything.
lots of sitcoms and stuff were referencing it. Like it was spoken
Episode of The
of.
X-Files.
Yeah,
Like,
it was spoken of as if it was a real thing that was an actual like this is the one mystery we still haven't figured out.
Yeah.
It is wild. It's this incredible place where literally no one ever escapes if they go into it.
I couldn't even tell you where I learned about it, how I learned. Like, it's just knowledge. I just have that information because it was so prevalent in pop culture. But while reading this, I messaged a friend of mine who has 4 kids because I wanted to know, do their kids know about the Bermuda Triangle? Fucking no.
You got to tell.
I was like, how?
You got to tell your kids about the Bermuda Triangle. Like what
You gotta tell your kids.
Do you want them to like just go there and fuck around and find out? Like you need to tell them
You can't
it's
let
as
them-
important as
they
sex
need to know.
education.
It might be more important, quite
Oh
frankly.
yeah, I think it's infinitely more important. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to oversell it, but
Sure. Well, I'll go there.
but yeah, I mean, I can remember being a kid and being terrified of the Bermuda Triangle as a thing. Right? It was scary.
Yeah.
It was as scary to me. It was the sort of thing where it would keep me up at night as a little boy in the same
Oh,
way that
shit.
like and granted I wasn't that little of a boy when Independence Day came out, but when I saw the trailer for Independence Day, which was just this ominous thing and showed alien face at the end and a spaceship and
Whoa.
stuff,
Yeah.
I was freaked the fuck out.
Oh,
Like
no.
it was enough that I was like, "Oh man, that's really scary." If that's what could be out in the world, and Bermuda Triangle was the same thing. It's like, "Oh, this is just like it's a monster that gobbles everything up," right? Like
You just get caught.
you just
And no one will ever know.
exactly, yeah. It's like the Stephen King story, The Langoliers, right? Where
The
the idea is
Langoliers.
like, you get unsunk with time, you get out of sync, and these things have to eat the past. Otherwise, we leave timeline behind
Yeah,
or something. I
horrible
don't remember how that story
trails?
goes. Yeah,
I don't know me either.
but yeah, but like the
I didn't
Bermuda
read that
Triangle
one.
is
I just watched
effectively
it.
this. Yeah, oh man, and the miniseries version of that movie is something else. That is some terrible original CGI.
Oh, I wonder which I've seen
look
because
like
I'm
little
remembering terrible
Pac-Mans.
CGI. Yeah,
They
yeah,
look like
yeah.
little
Okay, so
Pac-Mans. And Bronson
so
Pinchot's
wait, there's a
in it.
miniseries. There's a miniseries and a movie.
Well, I think it's just a movie. I think it was just a TV
okay.
movie that was probably
TV
on in
yeah,
two
yeah,
parts
yeah.
or something. I think it was like a 4 hour long 2-part movie.
Yeah, it's like how they did it. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, that's I've seen
How
that.
they did what?
It.
Yeah, I'm asking
The
what
original.
they did.
It was 2 parts.
It was 2 parts.
2 long parts. Yeah.
There was a kid part and there was an adult part.
Yep.
Yep,
And isn't that true for all of us?
it is. We just don't get to be the kid part for very long, which is a real bummer.
No.
In retrospect,
It's a real
would
bummer.
have been nice.
It's a real
Would have
bummer.
been nice to have a longer kid part.
You should buy these books and regain some of that childlike wonder.
You really should. The next section, chapter 2, we get into the secrets of the Great Pyramid, and this one was fun. This one also seemed like this was also the driest of them because it's really just
Yeah.
British men going to Egypt to measure. Like
Measuring stuff
They're-
and doing it wrong. Just
Yeah.
doing it badly.
yeah, they're all look. I mean, one thing has not changed over time. Men are still obsessed with length. That is it. They're going
And
down
they still
there.
don't know how to measure.
They don't know their way around a triangle, and they're obsessed with length. They're going down there. They're trying. They're like,
You can't just explode stuff with the liquids you're pouring on that.
So yeah, and this just ends up being like, hey, the pyramids, they're big. It's like wild. Why is this here? It's lined up. It's lined up with the summer solstice. It's lined up with the stars. They're big, and we don't understand what they're for because there doesn't seem to be like there wasn't a pharaoh body in the big one that we were expecting to find. So why did they?
But there was
this?
an empty sarcophagus.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun thing to know. That, like, oh yeah, there's just an empty spot. But somebody could have rated it well before. And I know that was sort of the premise. Is they're like, how did they get in? Because there's this big rock. And it's like, well, maybe they rated it and then they closed it off because they were like, hey, look. I mean, who knows? Maybe.
You think so?
Maybe the pharaoh had like a secret lover who was kind of necro stuff and was like, look, I'm going to sneak in. I'm going to take my baby back.
Yeah.
I'm going to seal this up so that nobody goes in to find out that I'm boning the pharaoh corpse because I don't want.
Or maybe he faked his own death.
Maybe he faked his own death. Maybe he got tired of the spotlight and he was like, you know what I want to be? I want to be an Atlantean. So I'm just going to like pop my hood on and just disappear into the mists.
I'm going to spend decades flogging slaves to build this for me so that I can disappear.
I mean, wouldn't it be a lovely story though if it was like I spent decades doing this and then I realized at the end like, oh, what am I doing? Like this is meaningless. This sucks. I've been mean to people my whole life and all I have are these triangles. I don't want to die in a triangle. I should go somewhere else.
Yeah, he had a moment. But then everybody was like, no, the pomp, the circumstance. And he was like, bury the sarcophagus. They'll never know.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll just slip out the back.
Yeah.
We don't have IDs, so nobody actually knows what I look like. If I just wear a ceremonial mask, they'll assume it's me.
That's true. Yeah. I feel like this is the section that I knew the least about. No, that's not true. The pictures on the earth is what I knew least about.
Sure.
But
yeah.
I didn't know a ton about the actual Great Pyramids. Here's what I did know. I knew about pyramid power.
Sure.
From the 80s.
Yeah. I feel like we've talked about that specifically.
Oh, probably. Because it is fascinating.
But yeah, I do love the
dumb.
idea that you could put a pyramid over a sick person and they suddenly become well.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And that people
that's
were
amazing.
doing that. They were like, "Oh yeah, I'll buy a metal pyramid by calling a 900 number and then put it over my desk so that all of my business deals are successful." Okay.
Perfect. Oh, so incredible. Love it. Yeah, and that was basically just like, well, the Great Pyramids are great. Let's do something shaped like it.
Well,
no, it was some guy who climbed up to the top, right? And he was like, whoa, this feels crazy.
yeah, they were like standing on it and around it and picking up vibrations. And this is sort of the thing that happens, like the people getting Geiger counters out and dowsing rods was the other thing where it's just like, oh, I'm feeling something. So my dad and I used dowsing rods to like place our wells when we built our houses.
Those are real
and
things.
They really do work, but I have not in my life experience felt what it is to work. I don't know how you would know. I understand that the idea is that it dips down when you're near the thing.
Yeah, they move.
And that's cool. But it also feels a little bit to me like a Ouija board, where it's like
it's witchcraft for sure. Yeah,
it's like it moves, but it kind of moves when you need it to, when you want it to move too. Like you're not.
Yeah,
I don't know. I have a hard time fully detaching myself from like manipulating an object to be like, is it moving itself? It's like I don't know.
Well, that would be cool too, though. Like if you're the one detecting water and doing a subtle movement, that's still
magic. That still means that I somehow my 78% water understands where other water is.
Yeah, you're like you're being drawn
it's
to
like,
it.
I want to go home.
Yeah, that's wild. I don't know. I don't know. Those are a mystery to me. I don't know. Do we have any scientist listeners? Is there an answer to this? Write in debutbuddies at
Yeah, email
gmail.com.
us.
Tell
Tell
us how
us.
dowsing rods
I want
work.
to know. Um,
I want to
I
know.
think the thing that I found most disappointing about the pyramid section was that it is something that we do have a lot of verifiable fact about, and this chapter does not spend time on
Yeah.
that really at all. It spends mostly
No.
time on lots of nutty ideas and people measuring things. And only one of them do we find out, like, oh yeah, when we finally measured it, it was kind of close to the weird 1.25 cubits thing that someone made up, which
Yeah.
makes it potentially something. I also really I
Maybe.
liked the idea that maybe all of the blocks had been poured as a
I liked
concept.
that too.
I don't it seems to be verified as not true,
As incorrect, but that's creative
but
thinking.
at least it made it seem more plausible to me that like, well, I guess like you could build a big wood scaffolding, and then if you were able to like pour this
Yeah.
in and then you just like carved lines out because you like the separation look, right? Like you want like if you buy a fake
Oh,
backsplash that's
I
brick.
misunderstood that. I thought that they still were pouring each thing individually, but that you could like carry the materials up with you in smaller pieces and then build a stone, place it, build a brick, place it. I'm not okay,
I think we're
interesting.
thinking about it similarly. Like I sort of imagine it like you were pouring a cement like foundation, right?
Yeah, like a
So
big
you just
section and
build a
then
bunch of
carving.
scaffolding and then you pour the thing and then you build the next thing, and as long as you do them in the right
Yeah.
order and things are leaning on each other correctly, nothing falls over. You're doing great.
Interesting.
Then it can be hollow on the inside, and you could like add other pieces to further sort of ballast it and hold it up. I liked that as a premise at very least.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool
It
idea.
certainly feels more connected to the idea that ancient Egyptians were industrious builders than the idea that like, well, we just have to make horrendously gigantic blocks and move them with only people
Right.
and simple machines. I mean, they still had simple
Before
machines.
wheels, before wheels, we're
Yeah.
moving all
You know, they had
this.
logs. Logs are like wheels, they're long. But yeah,
Oh,
like,
I guess
you
so.
know,
Yeah.
I
Uh,
also love the part where the two stolen obelisks, the Cleopatra's Needles, that like what the
yeah.
one that's in Central Park, and then the one that
Yep.
got taken to London, and how they took it to London by putting it in a metal cigar-shaped boat
Yeah.
tube that they just rolled along the water until they were able to get a sail, a mast risen on it. Which I mean, just
Oh God.
that to me feels like that feels like runaway capitalism era stuff where it's like,
Oh,
hey,
big time.
this is really cool. We should invent an entire system to move this one thing so that we can look at
So
it
that we can
somewhere
have
else.
it.
Yeah.
Like it's not enough for us to appreciate it from afar. We need to own it.
Yeah, it's not enough that we could come here again. It's that it needs to be
Right.
somewhere. It needs to be in London because we deserve to own it, and we'll build a boat,
Yeah.
a special boat.
So we'll build a special boat for our trinkets. I did like my favorite part I think of this was after all of the sections about how the numbers could work out. Like this is a ratio of pi, this is, whatever. This is what is it? 1, 1, 3,
Oh, yes.
the golden ratio. This is the golden
Yeah, yeah.
ratio. I can't remember the mathematical name for it. Whatever. All of this could line up. It's
The
the
Fibonacci sequence, is that what you're thinking of?
Fibonacci.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's whatever ratio of the diameter of the Earth. Then there was one guy who was like, "Yeah, you can make all numbers work together. Like all numbers, it's numbers. If you fiddle with it long enough, you can make anything else."
Yeah.
And I was like, "That is what I've been screaming."
Yeah, it's like, oh, I am exactly one tenth of 1/100,000th of the radius of the Earth, and that means, and it's like,
Right.
no, it doesn't mean shit.
The Earth is however many nates long.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, come on.
The Earth wishes it was however many nates long. Jeez,
There they go, men not knowing how to measure
that's
again.
right. Uh, I did enjoy the part where they were like, these scientists try to go into the pyramid, and they want to check it out, and then they're just like, oh, there's bat shit in here. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the book doesn't feature it, but you can imagine a Scooby-Doo-esque everybody's just like slipping and running in place kind of sequence. They're just because they're all like Napoleon's people too, so it's just a bunch of like French guys.
Just slipping and sliding.
Sacre
Can't
bleu.
get their bearings. Yeah. Oh, pretty good. I did think that it was interesting that, well, darn it, now I can't remember the details of it. Somebody predicted that they would find a new chamber that had not been discovered yet, and then that was later found. That's interesting.
It's also
That's an interesting
it's also
thing.
a fairly safe bet. You're like, this is a huge
I guess that's
thing, and we've
true.
only found one room in it that we can access. I bet
I
somebody's
suppose
gonna
that's
find another
true.
one.
Okay, well, when you put it that way, I see.
I'm just saying, it's like if I were to suppose, like, I think there might be another room behind the door that's right behind you right now, Kelly. What do you think?
Curious. That is a good bet.
yeah.
No, that door's decoration. Ha ha!
Damn
Gotcha,
you!
bitch.
Damn you, pharaohs!
That's the bathroom.
Nice. King Toot lives in there. It's a fart joke. So yeah,
Yep,
that was
good
the
job.
pyramids. Apparently, as with like Manhattan Henge and all the other sort of things that we can witness, on a certain day of the year, the sun will line up perfectly between stuff, and you can check it out.
Yeah.
And it's cool that happens.
That's dope.
It's neat that all of the pyramid stuff line up with the summer solstice, and that they also connect with some astronomy things. I always find that fascinating. But in the same token to what we've talked about before, it's like, yeah, but you don't know what any of this is, so it's more the aesthetic connection, and then who knows what you're thinking about it. Like, it might just be pretty. It might be that you think you're communing
Yeah.
with the heavens, but it doesn't have to be
Totally.
like this was a specific ceremony designed to do XYZ. Like, not everything is that. Sometimes you just
The pyramids do feel very contrived, though,
they-
right?
well,
Like,
sure, yeah.
of all of this, those are the ones that I was like, man, it does feel like there's something
They're
more
they're really,
to this one.
They're really well made and very specifically engineered.
And the fact that it took so long, it does feel like there's a larger something there, but I'm falling into the same trap.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the other thing that you can go to is like it could all be driven by ego and people who were just
Yeah.
like, hey, look, I want to be remembered for as long as the mountains will exist, and so I'm going to build my own mountains right here in the desert so that no one forgets
you're so
who
right.
I am.
Yep.
And I don't know.
Haha, we forgot.
The next section of the book is all about strange sort of monoliths, stones,
Yeah.
rock circles, things balanced on other things, and Stonehenge. And it goes into kind of the same thing with the pyramids, except because they're less engineered,
They're smaller.
we start doing more reaching. I think that my favorite part was some of the wild theories about what Stonehenge was, especially the guy who thought like, well, I think that it's like a party place and a market and there's a racetrack nearby. So I just think
Yeah.
people, like, built Stonehenge so they could fuck around and trade.
Honestly,
And it could be.
that sounds right to me. I don't know.
I thought it was funny that
People love to fuck around and trade.
yeah, it's like it's literally these are activities that would just be necessary for the day to day. So yeah, it would make sense to
Right.
be like, hey, there's all these rolling green hills for miles in every direction. It's
beautiful.
and it's wet and rainy and cold, and maybe we just need to make a place that's fairly obvious that you'll see it in the distance and go, hey, I probably should go over there if I want to move this grain or sell this sheep or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
I did like that
I
it was all
also-
premised on,
go on.
that they found a couple of coins there in the dirt. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, yeah, but like people could drop like especially with weird monument things, that would be like saying like, oh, we found some pennies in the Trevi Fountain. Do you think ancient Americans built Rome? It's like, no, the fuckers were making wishes. What are you talking about?
Did I ever tell you about the penny I found on the exterior window sill of my second floor
I
apartment.
think you did once.
I
Yeah.
still think about it
Well,
sometimes. That's a
that's
fucking mystery to
unnerving.
me.
That's
I
weird.
was like, I thought for sure, my initial impulse was like, this is a good luck thing or like warding off something. I'm not touching that. That lives
Yeah.
there. So that penny was there the whole time I lived in that apartment. I hope it's still there to this day.
I hope so too. It's probably it's going to be worth a lot of money now because pennies won't exist much longer.
Oh, you're so right.
You know? We're not making them anymore. One way to bring
we
down
finally
prices
stop?
is by making
Good.
pennies not exist. That's
We
galaxy
shouldn't-
brain
we
thinking
shouldn't have
from
those.
the leader of the free world.
Are we going to stop though? Because I do think that we should stop making them. It costs more
Oh no,
to make a penny.
signed an
than a
executive
cent.
order to suspend production of pennies.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
broken clock.
Yep.
You know what I did like about the Stonehenge section when they were hypothesizing how they could have been created
Yeah.
before, the machinery we have today, and they were like, how did they? So it describes the way that what's the piece across a door, the top of a door called a lintel? Is that a lintel?
Oh, mantle?
No, mantle is.
I guess mantle's over like a fireplace usually.
Yeah. Anyway, the top of a door frame. There are parts of Stonehenge that are shaped like a door. Two uprights, one horizontal across the top. So in Stonehenge, the uprights have little pegs atop it, and the horizontal bit slides on over that. It's got holes in it that line up over the peg section. And they were like, how'd they do that? How'd they lift it up there so precisely without machinery of today? And I was like, man, this author has never been a single woman who lived alone before, because you get real creative with how to move heavy stuff. For example, I was like, you assemble it laying down on the ground, you lash the pieces in place, and then you rotate it upward. What do you mean? How did they do it?
It's a lot easier to make yourself the fulcrum and slowly raise
Yeah,
the
exactly.
thing. Because you're not lifting it the whole time than it is to lift the thing on top. Yeah.
I was like, what are you listen to yourself.
Well, but look, they thot Merlin did it to begin with. They were like,
Merlin probably
used
did do
magic
it.
to put this together. I like that the
Not just that. He flew it from, where was it? Africa?
yeah. Well, because Merlin was an Atlantean, I think was the thing, right? As they were saying,
yeah.
Merlin
That
was an
seems right,
Atlantean
yeah.
who went and
Yeah,
collected
yeah.
a bunch of shit from around the world and then brought it over.
And his dad was Satan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, his mom got down with Satan because, as one does, and Merlin was born.
Evil is always sexy.
He just wanted, he just wanted to dare a blacksmith to make an old lady young by putting horseshoes on her, or whatever the hell happened in that.
I can't remember. Yeah.
I liked that they had the one guy, Inigo Jones, I'm looking at that page right now, who
Ooh.
made the whole thing that, like, I think the Romans built it. And then he drew, like, a much fancier, different version and was like, yeah, I think it used to look like this. And everybody was like, no, that's not how time or rocks work.
No, and also, like, they were a lot more ornate. Your drawing doesn't even capture the vibe, in my opinion.
Yeah. You're not getting the vibe. You're not getting anything. And then, just more talk about different circles and all the people who thought that druids were sacrificing people at Stonehenge and things like that. Sure, people probably partied at Stonehenge. That makes sense.
Yeah. People party everywhere.
But especially
course
when they
do.
have a cool, like, cultural center object. If you've got a bunch of goofy shit, you're going to go party at it. Like, what else is there to do? You live, you party, and then you die. That is all there was then.
Dude, put that on your tombstone.
I will. It'll have to replace Cooler Than Cats, Dumber Than Dogs, though.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Maybe I can have two
Well,
tombstones.
we'll get you a big one.
We'll figure it out.
We'll get you a monolith,
Yes.
and we'll just have, like, bullet points.
That is a great idea, to be buried and have a monolith that looks ancient put there, just to kind of fuck with people for eons to come.
Perfect.
What do you think they intended with this?
Do you think they poured it in place, or?
Do you think someone raised it 400 feet in the air and then dropped it directly down here? It's like, I mean, they could have just like tipped it upward and used a
Use
rope.
your noodle.
Yeah. I mean, and this whole monolith section was really like a use your noodle section for me because all of the things again are like, oh, they point at this the summer solstice, they point at this, they point at that.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, or sometimes and yes, they probably do, and it probably was cool. But there's also the premise of just like people like putting circles of rocks together. Like I used to arrange
Yeah.
things in circles when I was a kid all the time. And then I had what I will now preface by saying this is a controversial thought that I'm not saying I believe to be truth or reality. But as I was reading it, I was like, you know what? This sort of obsession with patterns and things makes me wonder if the sort of traits of autism and being on the spectrum of that have, well, obviously they've always been prevalent and existent throughout humanity and are not at all connected to vaccines or a new occurrence. They're just
No,
something that
yeah.
we are observing more now and freaking out about it because we're idiots. But if that was, if that were something that was occurring at the same frequency or even a slightly greater frequency because people had no other stimulus distracting them, so that your
Yeah.
ability to hyper focus became more ingrained, you would be drawn to patterns and circles and shapes and things that felt like you were putting some control on the earth. I mean, some of these things are like, oh, this is a circle of tall stones, and some of them represent ladies and some represent men. And it's like, yeah, but that also could just be a kid putting up stuff. Like maybe you just were like, hey, this is where we do our dances. We need something cool around the outside of it. What do you say?
Yeah.
We have rocks. They're free. Can you help me stand them up? Like it's it's interesting to think that so many generations of scientific effort have gone into calculating all of these angles and things to to force order onto them, to force some
Yeah.
like, oh, well, we've always been purposeful and had jobs, and my job is science, and so I'm going to impose my job on history rather than being like, no, they literally like they were drinking water with accidentally fermented shit in it because that was just how it was. And if you didn't die, you probably tripped balls. And then you were like, I'm going to play with these rocks for a little while. And then you would wake up and you'd get the plague. It wasn't like it was a complicated time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. I guess part of what I keep running up against is like, what do we gain by? We will never know. We will never know what it actually
Yeah.
was. What do we gain by trying to impose that order on it? Like, what's the end goal? Like, let's say that Mr. Rick scientist comes up with his perfect flawless theory that he believes 100%. What does that change?
I think,
What does that change?
I mean, I honestly think so much of this is about being unable to reconcile the fact that there is actually no higher purpose to
Ah,
existence, right?
yeah.
If you're a person who is, raised in a Christian slash Catholic Western religious capitalist society, you are sort of indoctrinated to believe that like not only is there a purpose to things, it is way bigger than you. It's way above your pay grade. And but
Yeah.
you are also in the image of that purpose, which means that you too are a higher purpose. And I think that implication has really fucked us as a species because a lot of the shit that's going on now where you have billionaires who believe that because they have made a lot
God.
of money, they are nation states and geniuses and things unto themselves. It's all the same problem. It's like, no, none of all of this is random. All of this is meat suits and electrical sparks and brief windows of time to love and care about each other and enjoy things and survive and hopefully make it for as long as you can in as much comfort as you can. But that's not comforting to a lot of people, as demonstrated by the fact that so many people
Yeah.
require religion to find a similar kind of comfort. So yeah. So you're spending all your time to figure out like why are the pyramids there? Why is Stonehenge there? It's like, well, it can't just be there. People can't
Right.
just do things for no reason. They have to do things for a reason, because my whole life is predicated on the fact that I have a reason. Otherwise, my life wouldn't have any meaning.
But it's circular. Like maybe they did have a huge reason.
Well, they could
maybe they
have.
totally
Yeah.
did. What's the point? What's the point of knowing that?
Well, but that's-
What's the point of trying to figure it out?
That's the thing is I think it's about
that's what I'm
it's
saying.
about
It's
individual
circular.
ego and
It just,
mortality.
like-
Yeah, it's like
it just like circles in on each other into this tight spiral of like
yeah.
your
If-
solution is the problem.
if I can't figure out why the real purpose why somebody in the past did something, no one will figure out the purpose why I did any of this, which means there was no purpose to any of it. And the truth is,
Right.
there wasn't. Everybody,
there wasn't.
Everybody does stuff, but like, most of the time they're reacting to one thing or another. Like, it's possible Stonehenge was just like, well, it could be we're bored. It could have been an attempt to create some sort of housing. It could have been merchants. It could have been religious.
Here's my idea. There were so many henges all through the UK that this was essentially like a snowman building competition.
Sure. Yeah.
All these towns built their little henges, and then there was a panel of judges who went around.
The great
gave out
British
awards.
henge off.
Yes, precisely. It was the Great British Henge
Everybody
Off.
was just being really nice to each other and helping each other build their henges. And then at the end,
Solved it.
Yeah, I love that. That should be what it is. That really should be what it is.
I think that's it. I think I've decided. I think I'm right.
So the Stonehenge stuff segues us into the concept of ley lines and people who have searched for ley lines, and the idea that all of these sites on Earth that have been established must have some sort of magical, mystical, extra sensory energy that is coursing through them.
Yeah.
And if we can channel them a la through pyramid power or by using a divining rod or whatever,
dowsing
rods to do that, you can somehow gain greater insight. No one's really talked about how it practically does anything outside of the pyramid power thing, which seems to do literally everything.
Right. Yeah. It's also like, boy, it's really easy to draw a straight line between two things.
Yeah.
So, like, if the ley lines were laid out in a grid, that would be one thing, and all of this spooky stuff was happening on it. But they're just like weird. You can it's make 'em ups.
Yeah.
They intersect all willy nilly. Like,
Yeah,
you're
looks
just picking 2 points and drawing a line.
yeah, it looks kind of like the interstate highway system in a way, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, yeah, if you wanted to connect the power of Chicago with the power of Indianapolis, you would use this line. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, that's the most direct
Yep,
way to get
okay.
there. Like, but I do like the idea
not
that
sure
hey,
on this
you know,
one.
maybe on ley lines there are ghosts and things. That's kind of fun.
For sure, yeah.
Or like,
a lot of mysterious things.
Some kind of punk gets
have
levitated.
allegedly-
There was a levitated punk.
Oh yeah.
The one I liked the most was the older couple whose car shut off, and then a flying saucer came down. And the illustration on this, listeners, is bonkers.
So startling.
Because it is a man in a silver jumpsuit with pink solid color contact lens looking eyes,
Pink
and he has an evil twin goatee. And he's just like
Yeah,
huddled over the front of the car while two old people appear terrified. But as far as the story goes, they saw him and then the car restarted and they were on their way. And that was it.
Yeah, apparently he just looked at the controls of the car with his pink eyes and it turned right back on. So he was just like the good Samaritan alien, I guess.
Yeah, well, or maybe you've heard it here first, but conjunctivitis can give you telepathic powers.
Well, but you know what? Conjunctivitis is often one of the symptoms of an alien encounter or a Mothman encounter.
Whoa.
So coincidence?
I think, why doesn't anybody talk about that then? That, everybody says probing happens when aliens abduct you. But if you're getting conjunctivitis, it sure sounds like the alien's just putting their butt on your face.
You're going ass to eye.
Yeah. Which, look.
You can't go ass to eye.
I mean, hey, Gen Z can do whatever they want.
Oh, they love it. They love it.
But yeah, I mean, I like the idea of some things connecting these other sources. But yeah, you hit it. Like you can draw a straight line from the Arc de Triomphe to the Eiffel Tower. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
that there's magic between those two things. Other than it might be like aesthetically a sight line that made sense based on the other buildings around at the time, right?
Sure.
And to
Yeah. Who
assume that
knows?
just because there isn't an urban planner involved in Stonehenge that we know of, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, it could have just been like, hey, look, this is where Stonehenge goes. We're giving you the land permit for this. And then it was just like, and
Right,
there's a
right,
church
right.
over here. And we kind of want it to be that you can see the church from there. So that's why there's a line
It's just
between
really
that.
convenient. It's an easy path for us to
Yeah.
walk.
Yeah, I mean maybe it was just like it's downhill to the bar. So we'll do that.
Yeah.
We don't have to walk uphill from Stonehenge to go get more beer. Like that sounds horrible.
Oh, exhausting.
The fourth chapter is pictures on the Earth, and we get into all of the sort of various international giant ground structure mural things
Yeah, they
in
are
the
neat.
Andes and
They're big.
beyond. Yeah, they're all really cool, and you know, I was dazzled by the idea that people thought, oh, hey, these things in the Nazca Desert are actually alien runways.
Yeah.
Specifically, when they show one that is called the Tree of Life, and it looks like that. It
Yeah.
looks like a tree or a cactus, and they're like,
It looks like a cactus.
this
Yeah.
must be the signal for ancient astronauts to land here. And it's like, what about this says land? Like, unless the ship is shaped like this.
It's just straight lines. It's just long straight
Yeah.
lines. I liked that the gal, what's her name? Maria Ricci?
Yeah.
Reich, maybe? Who was big time studying in Nazca. I liked that when she heard that theory from that tool, it was just some blowhard who came up with that one. She was like, you know, it doesn't make a great landing surface. I'm afraid, she just said concisely, I'm afraid the spacemen would have gotten stuck.
Yeah, because it's all
liked that.
very soft sand. It's the idea that you would land there with a heavy intergalactic object.
She was like,
Yeah, I think that's
not gonna work.
Von Daniken is the guy that came up with that nonsense.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Because yeah, he also took an ancient tablet and decided that the illustration was a picture of a Mayan nobleman like operating a spaceship, which in the way they set the inset, it reads a little bit like Prometheus, like the Alien prequel, where it's like, oh yeah, this kind of
sure.
has that sort of weird organic at the
Yeah,
person
yeah.
levers sort of
He looks like
energy.
he's operating
Yeah.
something. It made me think of like the little tiny submarine that James Cameron
Yeah.
takes down to look at the
yeah,
Titanic.
yeah.
Like just little, and you're like hunched in there.
You just gotta curl up in a little ball.
Yeah. But I was reading that section in a bar and I felt like such an idiot because I had the book like all the way up to my face so I could really inspect it. And that's when I discovered it smelled like cigarettes.
You're like, wait, I'm in a bar. Wait, no one smokes in bars anymore. Damn it.
I forgot what year it is.
I think my favorite part from this was the guy, Jim Woodman, decided to build a replica hot air balloon
Yes.
made out of craft techniques that Peruvians could have used at the time. Because his premise was
Yeah.
like, hey, I think they just like this. It's cool art. Like they could just go up there and look at it. They would be stoked to see this pretty shit.
Yeah, he was like, I think that they could fly. I think that they had flight. Or float. It's more float than flight, but
it's a little non-Tokyo drift is pretty much what happens. But yeah, and he proved it. He got like a 3-minute long hot air balloon flight that got high enough
That's
to look
so cool.
at these sculptures on the ground and see them and be excited about it.
That's just so cool.
Yeah, because I wonder about that where it's like it comes back to the same thing of you're trying to piece together a connection with space, with the sky, with the universe.
Yeah.
And the most logical jump would be, okay, well if if you're stranded on a desert island, there's the whole joke of like just write help in coconuts on the beach until a plane flies over to see
Yeah.
it. And so it seems like if you don't understand how nature works, but you do understand that great things and horrible things come from the sky, you might make something as an offering to be like, here, sky, look at this thing to show that I see you and I want you to see us back. And so here's a snake.
Especially if you're seeing like shooting stars, like rapid movement across the heavens, you're gonna think like, well, I've seen a ship on water before.
Yeah, there's got to be something up there,
is.
and maybe it'll come here if I make a compelling enough case for my story, which is here's a hunter, here's a thing that's being hunted, here's this beast, here's this bird, here's other thing, like here's all the stuff that we can think of, and we just want you to see it, so maybe you'll know about us, right? It makes me, I like more the idea that it's like the gold record that we sent in the Voyager space probe, right?
Yes,
where it's just like, look,
that's exactly what I was thinking about. Yes,
look at what we're about. You can see it because we made it big enough for you to see. Like, that's cool.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be like, well, what secrets are about? It's like, no, they're just, people can say hi in cool ways.
Like, literally, we did it with the gold record.
Yeah, we did the same thing.
Like, why wouldn't they
And
have?
someone in 300 years or 3,000 years is going to be like, what the fuck is this?
I don't even know how to play this.
Ancient peoples would rub a sewing needle along these discs and they would hear crunchy noises.
It's true.
Yeah, I love just thinking about it from that perspective of they're just beautiful. They're just neat looking things. Like, why can't they just be neat? Why can't people just like to make pretty things?
You know what really bummed me out about that section, though, is this woman, Maria Reishi, spends her entire life studying this. She starts in her 30s and just does it until she dies. And, well, the first thing that bummed me out is that she, like, never really received any payment for any of that.
Yeah. She just seemed to be a hobbyist of sorts.
She was dedicated. And then that Von Daniken guy shows up and, like, despite being a big time embezzler and being thrown in jail immediately, like, has a #1 bestseller with his book on his, like, bogus theory that he put no work into. But then the thing that really bummed me out is years later, some clown shows up and, like, maps it all out and plugs it into his computer and disproves that it lines up with anything in the heavens. He's like, it doesn't line up with the stars. It doesn't line up with anything. That just, don't do that. Take your computer somewhere else. Right. Stop that. Why would you do that?
It's not additive. You're just making this a bummer.
You're just ruining everybody's day. Yeah. Stop that. Shut up.
But yeah, I mean,
maybe you entered it wrong. Did you measure it? Men can't measure.
It's true. You probably overestimated by at least 2 to 3 inches.
Exactly. We gotta adjust this.
Well, and the bummer that she's like the only woman that's in the book, and her work is completely ignored, other than the fact that they cover that she did it. They're like, hey, it's really important that you know this woman existed and she did all this stuff. But all these yahoos just kept coming in and fucking around and making a lot of money.
Clowns.
Yeah.
It did mention, though, that a couple of the, like, native communities there do celebrate her. And I was
that's good.
That's nice. More, like, not even because she discovered anything, just her dedication to their culture. Yeah. That's cool.
She spent a lot of time there and she became part of the community. That's great.
Time there.
That's real cool.
Wait, there was something else that the book did not discuss. Okay, so she was vegetarian, and it said that while she was just camping in the desert studying this, she subsisted on it was like bread and fruit and milk.
Interesting.
Did she have a cow with her?
Maybe.
Or is this old
They could
milk?
have cows.
She must have had a cow.
Cows around, I think.
There must have
been. But
I was like desert milk.
It could be like alpaca milk or something. I'm trying to think of what's going on in Peru.
Alpacas for sure. Do they do? I guess they do.
Hey, look, if it's a mammal, you can milk it.
There's goats there too.
Yeah.
People definitely drink goat milk. Okay. All right. Mystery solved. We're solving a lot. We're solving a lot of mysteries today.
The last chapter is just basically about Hollow Earth, which
Love
is fun,
Hollow
right?
Earth.
I really like the just terrifying painting from Peter Bruegel's The Fall of the Rebel Angels that is showing the angels fighting demons inside the Hollow Earth.
It's giving Hieronymus Bosch.
It's giving so much Bosch, and I love that at least, I don't know, like 1/3 of the demons depicted are like cute little Muppet kids. Like,
I picked out which one I am.
which one?
I wonder if I can navigate you
Are
to
you the
it.
one that's like a funny puffer fish with teeth?
No,
I like that
I'm not
one
a
a lot.
fish. I'm like a little pumpkin guy doing the M from the YMCA dance. So he's on the very, very, very bottom edge of the page. I guess not quite all the way at the bottom, but he's at the bottom of the page on the left-hand side, sort of central. So there's like a lizardy guy who's upside down with his belly exposed.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you see
Yep,
him?
I see him.
And then my pumpkin guy is just like diagonally right down from him. He's behind something's wings.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He just looks like a little jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, he sure does.
And he's doing like the M from YMCA. And he looks happy.
Yeah. Well, all of them do look pretty happy.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Like, if nothing else, the angels look more like, they look like sociopaths because they all just have blank expressions while they're committing murder. But all of the
Just
demons
murdering.
are like, hey, I'm doing a thing.
All of these little critters.
There's so many of us, and we vaguely resemble household pets and or gourds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like there's a little guy that's like on the second page on 141 on the right hand side, and he has like a fox tail or like a raccoon tail, and he's just like he's right below the flying bug seed.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
He's just kind of like his teeth forward, so you can't see his face, but it's something else.
Yeah, I bet he has like I think his face is probably like that of a mole.
That's what I assume too. Yeah. He's got a little mole face.
Yeah. He's got a little mole face.
He's got his two little flipper front arm leg things, and then he's got his big swishy fox tail, and that's it.
I can hear the sound he's making as I can hear him. We have to post pictures of this.
we better. It would be rude at this point. I don't want to cut this out, so it would be rude to not.
No. We need to bring this to the people.
But I didn't know some of this other stuff about these expeditions around like, oh, hey, the way to get into the Hollow Earth is you got to go to the North Pole because the Northern Lights are inside Earth energy gases leaking out. So we just have to go there, and then we can find the hole and go in, and then we'll find all of the people and animals that live there because there's another sun inside the Earth that's in the middle, and then there's
or multiple.
Yeah, the
like just
the idea that it's just multiple concentric
like a Russian
rings.
doll.
Yeah.
A Matryoshka doll of Earths.
You have like this rotating
suns.
gyroscope of different Earths and suns nested inside the thing in bands.
That's very Hellraiser.
It totally is.
Yeah.
That would be cool. If you're listening, Hellraiser people, make a Hellraiser where they're Hollow Earthing.
That guy who was Pinhead has made some pretty dreadful movies of late, so I think we can get him.
Oh, great. Yeah. Wasn't there Lady Pinhead in the new Hellraiser?
There was Lady Pinhead in the new Hellraiser. She was great. New Hellraiser was good. It wasn't as fun as the old ones, but
nothing's as fun as like the original two Hellraisers.
No. Yeah.
They get different kinds of fun
bad.
later. Like three has funness, right? Just like the is Adam Scott in the fourth one? Or is he in the fifth one?
I forgot that he was in them.
But they get that kind of fun, right? Where the fun is he's wearing a Dracula costume, kind of, and this is the movie.
It gets very like sci-fi original fun. Yeah.
But yeah, just interesting to discover that so many different waves of explorers kept going up there and trying to go into the Earth. either from the North Pole or the South Pole. And then you have all the, all the sci-fi stories from Jules Verne and beyond. Like, I forgot about how 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea was that they find Atlantis at the bottom of the sea. And I
I
forgot
didn't know
about,
that.
like, Journey to the Center of the Earth and how much Hollow Earth mythos that really fueled for everything. Like, and King Kong
Yeah,
and Godzilla have Hollow Earth energy, and all these things are just like,
loved
what
it.
if instead of just molten rock inside, there's an entire world, or 50 entire worlds?
Yeah, so many. I really liked the bit about the Earth not just being hollow with us on the outside, but that we're on the
That was
inside.
fun. The
I was like, oh, I forgot about this theory.
Yeah, the
And I
cracked open
liked
globe
that,
that had the outside of the
yeah,
globe painted on the inside.
it's very Truman Show.
Yeah. I was trying to think how that would work, like how you can see a concave horizon or convex horizon when you look outside. Like you can see the curvature of the earth when you witness it. And then
Yeah,
to be like, oh, but it actually is curved the other direction. You just don't understand it because your brain's broken. You know?
that's a good enough
It's
theory,
it's
I
it's a little
think.
weird, but I do like the
Some
idea.
of these, a lot of these theories were more based on vibe
Yeah.
than fact.
Yeah. Yeah. This
Which one of them? One of the guys who proposed Hollow Earth was like, "I know I'm right. I swear my life on it." Everybody's like, "Okay, calm down. I don't believe you."
Yeah, yeah. Just be look. None of our lives are worth anything, so I don't know why you think that's important.
Okay, swear your life on it. Fine. Deal with that in the afterlife, I
It is.
suppose.
I mean, it is interesting that like a lot of the quotes pulled are these people saying the exact thing that a person who is completely full of shit would say when pressed to
Exactly,
a point of
exactly.
dramatic insistence.
Precisely. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
hot-headedness.
yeah. No, the reason you don't believe me is because you're not open-minded enough. You don't
Yeah,
understand. And it's
exactly.
like, okay, I'm pretty sure
All
I'm pretty sure
right.
we're listening to what you're saying and we don't buy it.
Yeah, yeah. All right. And then this guy, Reynolds was his
Hmm.
name, who finally got Congress to fund a trip to the
Yeah.
North Pole to
And then he
investigate,
died.
was running his mouth so much that Congress was like, yeah, we are going to fund it, but not you. You can't go.
Yeah. Send somebody else and like
Like,
he died
just,
before they even went.
yeah, just cockiness. Just, ugh.
And then of course,
I also like that as a petty move. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do what you're asking. You have to
yeah,
stay
you
home.
will not do it. But we will fund it. We'll let you know how that goes. And then yeah, finding out Hitler was trying to find it too. Just another, classic
Yeah.
classic stuff.
Well, because what's down there? It's Vril. It's the Vril Yaw to the giants.
Yes. And again, infinite resources, right? Like the idea
Infinite
here, it's cool.
resources.
This book is literally
Well, it's the one resource that allows you to do
right.
everything.
Yeah.
It's Vril that powers all
Yeah,
of it.
it's like the alchemical thing that people were searching for to turn any metal into gold.
Yeah,
There's just
basically.
one thing that we don't know that controls everything, and if we can capture that, we're going to be
Yep.
super powerful. I love that this book literally bookends all of this discussion on two different forms of the idea that there is an Edenic space that we cannot find, right? Atlantis
Ooh.
was an Eden where everybody had figured everything out and we had perfection and we fucked it up. And Hollow Earth is the one that we haven't yet discovered, but that most certainly
Yeah,
has
we've
to
got
exist.
a past and
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't even think about that. That's a great point. That's a great observation.
But yeah, that's the book. That's the book.
That's the
That
book. I will say there is a page with a big old picture of
yeah.
Hitler. And when you were trying to read this in a bar,
Yeah.
you've got to. I was like looking around, like, I'm not on his side. The book is making fun of him.
Yeah, he is.
And I agree.
It is a picture of him casually looking at a map, like a fucking nerd.
I'm like covering it. Like, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not one of them.
This is not a Hitler book. This is a book that features Hitler because for
Look
some
at
reason several of them do.
so many of them.
I come
But
away
yeah,
from this.
the Nazis and the occult, they got a
Yeah,
lot.
I come away from this wanting to get the other ones. Like this is the bad thing about this is now I'm like, well shit, now I got to track down the other whatever 25 volumes
Yeah.
of this because
Yeah.
I'm sure they're all
I got a
this level of
handful.
weird. And
Ooh,
you know,
I am excited. I am excited to read more. I think the next one I'm going to read is about psychic powers. I'll let you know
yeah.
what I uncover.
Hell yeah. We'll have to make it a recurring segment on the show. Whenever you have
Oh,
one to
yeah.
present, we will talk about the next
Perfect.
volume.
Perfect.
And now it's time for the MouthGarf Report.
The MouthGarf Report. Open wide for some lasagna.
I hate Mondays.
Mouth Garf.
So, I don't have any teeth news, but as I've
Okay.
continued my movie watching endeavor that has been nigh constant since I don't play video games anymore because I'm just not, I don't know, I just haven't been driven to play video games for a minute.
Oh, you've turned over a new leaf.
I did, or at least I turned the same leaf over. I don't know
Yeah.
that there are any new leaves anymore. I'm getting the branches are getting a little old, but I watched Companion, which was great.
Yes.
We won't talk about. We'll talk about it another time. But I recommend that you see it, and I recommend listeners. You should check it out. It was great. It was a great film.
Oh, I can't wait.
I also watched the A24 Hugh Grant film Heretic.
I haven't seen that yet
Okay.
either. Was it good?
It's good, but it's a little
Okay.
frustrating because it's like I think you need to see it, and we need to talk about what you think
Okay.
of the ending. Given the nature of this, talking about mystic places, talking about kind of our connections to religions and faiths and things like that, there's a lot there, and there's a lot of cool
Yeah.
stuff going on. Hugh Grant is great. Everybody in the movie is great. Topher
that.
Grace is even like a
A24
disappeared weird like cameo character.
I forgot. He's in the trailer,
yeah.
right? I knew he was in it.
He's
Yeah.
like a Latter-day Saints like church leader guy.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. It didn't hit for me at the end for some reasons, but
Okay.
I can't really talk about those without ruining it. So you should see that.
Yeah.
I also watched the classic Die Hard and Die Hard
Ooh.
2, and then also
Okay.
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Is that the third
That
one?
is the third one, yeah.
Okay.
The third one was actually the first Die Hard I had ever seen because I think it came out in
Wow.
like 95. Yeah. So I recall watching it at my friend's house in one of those you're not supposed to watch this scenarios because it's an R-rated movie, and I would have been 14, 15 maybe. So technically
You're old enough to watch it
but
Die
you need
Hard.
adult permission to see these things, right?
I guess so.
But that one's great because Samuel L. Jackson is in it, so it's a two-hander between Bruce Willis and
Oh.
Sam Jackson, and they are solving
Classic.
riddles to try to stave off a bomber. It's great. It's a really fun movie, really excellent. And then I also watched the fourth one, Live Free or Die Hard, which
And now somebody's in that. Is
Justin
it Justin
Long is
Long?
in that, yeah.
Yeah.
Justin Long is a hacker. Timothy Oliphant is the villain, who is also a hacker. And Kevin Smith is in the movie as a hacker. And they're all
Wow.
different levels of hackers.
Pretty hacker heavy.
Yeah, and it makes it kind of boring because then it's just like,
Yeah.
well, what can Timothy Oliphant as an evil hacker do? Oh, he can shut down all the power everywhere, and he can do X, Y, Z. And it's like, well, yeah, but that's really boring.
Mainframe,
And it's
etc.
and it's a bummer because we know how good Timothy Oliphant can be in roles where he acts against somebody, and he's only in one scene in the movie with Bruce Willis at the very end.
Wow. Oh, darn.
It just doesn't. It didn't carry. And the
This is just like when that guy showed up in the Nazca desert with his computer.
Exactly.
Get your computers out of here.
Get out of here with your computer. We have mysteries and adventure.
Yeah.
And then there's the fifth one is A Good Day to Die Hard. I have not watched that yet. I probably will just to complete the cycle.
I did not realize that there was a fifth.
Yeah. It's fairly recent. I think it's like 2015 or something, or 2014. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's probably one of the last movies that Bruce Willis made before his dementia kind of started to set in, right? So, yeah, so it's interesting to watch those things. What I'm finding is that I'm getting a lot of joy out of watching older films, especially older action films, because there is a certain like quaintness to reality in those. And not even that there's clearly like a good structure and a bad structure, because a lot of them have subversions of that there's crooked cops, or there's like, or are we the bad guys or the alien the bad guys, whatever. Like there's a lot of that stuff going on. But there's just I don't know, it's really the tactility, honestly, like especially going through the Die Hards. Like the fourth Die Hard has a whole bunch of CG in it, and the previous ones do not. And there's something that's really fun about like, well, I guess that wasn't the most absurd stunt ever, but I also didn't need to see Bruce Willis land on top of a fighter jet that was crashing after the pilot ejected. Like, I guess that's an action sequence, but it's not something I needed to feel like the movie was good. I'm just as cool with watching them like drive through town and make a realization when they notice that like, oh wait, they turned the signs the other way. Shit, that's fun. That's fun.
Yeah, and it was also like, that's of an era before the actors were like crazy, huge, muscly.
Also true, yeah.
They were just like normal looking dudes.
He's like he's a hunky guy. He's in good shape, but he's not. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's like an achievable. Like, I'm not like, oh, you were in the gym 8 hours a day for 9 months on steroids to prep for this role.
Well, and like
you're just like hunky Bruce Willis.
Like all those Marvel guys. I'm sure you've heard this, but like all those Marvel guys talk about how they like in between takes they're all doing push-ups, right? Like Chris Evans is like doing push-ups in Captain America between takes, so that he remains like swole the whole time.
Yeah,
and that just seems. I mean, it is as absurd as it sounds, right? It's not even like it's not fun for anybody. It's not adding to the movie. It's just like, well, we don't want to give up the illusion that this guy is a superhero. So he has to be so ripped that he's unrippable.
Yeah. That's goofy. It's
real goofy. So yeah, I watched a bunch of movies. That was fun. And that's kind of all I got. I don't have a lot of other MouthGarf things.
Let's see. I don't think I have anything teeth related. What I've been watching is, this is our first episode we've recorded since the death of David Lynch, R.I.P. And so I have been rewatching Twin Peaks, which just feels so good. It's so cozy. It's so good and cozy. I just finished the first season last night. I'm excited to start the second one. And, I never watched Twin Peaks: The Return.
I never have either.
So
I have to do that.
Yeah.
I should really do what you're doing. I should rewatch everything.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've watched the original.
Oh, it's been so long for me. 10 years probably.
It is so like, it is a comfortingly sort of atonal experience, because it's not like the most conventional view, right? But it's also it speaks to this time when it was like, hey, look, we can unnerve you with simple things. We can unsettle you in simple ways, rather than being like, oh.
And the music is perfect. Like, this one is very, I don't know, Twin Peaks is very vibes heavy, but not exclusively vibes. Like, there's meat there if you want to uncover the layers, or if you just want to watch casually and just like enjoy how it feels.
Yeah.
You can do that too.
It's got the smells and it's got the tastes. And it just,
Precisely.
You want to put it in your mouth or not is up to you.
Should I give an Oven Man update?
Yeah, let's do it. Oven Man update.
What did we talk about last time? I don't think that we had. Yeah.
That was the Oven Man update lightning.
Yeah, it is ominous. It deserves lightning. No answers to the huge questions, but we did go out. Did we talk about that?
I don't think that we've talked
on
about
the
it
last
on the
episode.
pod.
I don't think
No,
so.
I think we talked about that just.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So we went out for one very cute, casual coffee date. He doesn't drink coffee, so he got a tummy ache and had to leave.
Wait, did he have coffee and get a tummy ache?
He ordered a mocha.
Aw. And he got a tummy ache from a mocha?
I was like, you got a little hot cocoa, and now you gotta go home. So it was never going to work. Doesn't drink booze, doesn't drink coffee. We don't have anything in common. Additionally, I require somebody who isn't a cheated cheater.
Yeah. You do want a free agent in a potential partner rather than someone who's already spoken for.
Open marriage would also work for me.
Sure, yeah. But everything's got to be above board.
It's got to all be above board, and I just don't think it was. He called Friday before last and was like, "What are you doing right now?" And I was like, "Well, I'm busy." And I just haven't heard from him since. I think he's ghosting me, presumably because he remembered that he is married.
I mean, it does. Okay, I'm gonna say, because I think I said this on the text, but like, coffee date is one red flag anyway. A little bit.
Business hours date.
Because it's like, hey, look,
business hours
because I came
date.
to fix your oven, and you want to go
Business
out. Well, let's
hours.
go out while I'm supposed to be at work. Great.
Though I will say, I am the one who suggested it.
That's okay. That's fine. But still, like, maybe he was like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. And then the "what are you doing now" call is definitely weird, because it's like, oh,
Weird.
so did your wife just like tell you that she's going out for girls' night or something? You're like, well, maybe I can sneak in some time.
Well, and you know what? It was still business hours.
What?
It was Friday at like 3.
That's so weird.
Yeah. Business hours
That's
cheater.
so weird. That's weird, just because it should be like, I'm not at work because I don't have a job, but you're at work.
Yeah.
Would you like to hang out a time when normal people spend time together? I mean, look, here's the counterpoint. He could be just a remarkably, like, anti-capitalist subversive worker, where he's like, yeah, I know I'm at work, but
Could
guess
be.
what I don't do is give a shit about being at work.
Well, he owns his own
that's
company.
true.
Like, he's the boss.
Which is yet another flag, because it's like, oh, you're the boss, so you just do whatever you want whenever you want to. And who knows? I'm going to go ahead and say he made the oven break on purpose, just so he could try to start the whole thing up.
Okay, so you think that before I moved in May, he set it up so that it would break in July. Yeah. And then when I finally called to have it fixed in December, he was like, that took a long time.
Yeah, but he was like, man, this has been so worth the wait, because I set a 2-month-long timer to break this oven, and it's taken 9 months. Yeah.
Maybe. Dude,
I
maybe.
mean, look, if he's got access, he could put in stuff designed to fail in every place that he repairs stuff, and just wait for
that's so
calls, and then be
true.
like, oh, cool, do you want to do like a business hours date? I really like just like chatting up people while
Business
I fix
hours
their
date.
oven temporarily. That oven's gonna break again.
So
It's gonna break again
strange.
soon.
Yeah, but I might be moving to San Francisco, so he's going to turn up at this address to some other who knows who living here, and he's going to be like, he's going to have to start the whole process over again.
Yeah, it'll be like the scenes in The Substance when the neighbor like comes by and he's like, "You're being loud," and then he's like, "What? Oh."
Yeah.
Because there will be like some hippie dude living in your apartment, and you're going to be living somewhere else.
Oh, I hope so. Oh, I hope so.
Yeah. Oven guy.
Those are my updates.
Jeez. That was the MouthGarf Report. Kelly, we live and die on tradition here, so
Yep.
I'm gonna ask if you'd like to play a game.
Hit me with it. I'm ready.
It's time to play I See What You Did There.
going to be so
It is
hard.
going to be hard because you're half a team.
Oh, okay.
But I believe in you. I think these are really doable. I think you're gonna dig them, and we'll work together. We'll work together a little bit on them. It's gonna be great.
Okay, yay. Yeah, I mean, it'll be just like usual where we have to go, and what's the next clue?
Yeah. These are all mystic places too. Everything has a direct mystic places connection. Okay. Number 1, this Bob Dylan banger features a big brass bed, and it's horny as all hell. So it's easy to imagine, quote, staying while the night is still ahead, unquote. And these connect important sites on Earth, such as monuments, hills, and other landmarks, perhaps conducting powerful energies.
This is fucking classic, Kelly, where I don't know the pop culture part, but I know the second part is ley lines.
Yeah. Any Bob Dylan songs you can think of that have a big brass bed in the lyrics?
No. Okay. What album's it on?
Oh, shoot. Just give me a second. I got to look that up.
Yeah. Take your time. I only know one album and clearly not very well. I don't think it's on there. Big brass bed.
It is from his album Nashville Skyline from 1969.
Well, that's not the one I know.
I'm certain that you've heard this song before. The song is
Probably.
Lay Lady Lay. Lay Lady Lay.
Oh.
Lay upon my big brass bed.
I don't know that I've ever heard the song, but I've heard people sing Lay Lady Lay before as a bit.
Okay.
So Lay Lady
Lay
Lines.
Lady Lay
Oh
Lines.
no, we are not off to a good
We
start.
saw what I did there.
Yep.
We sure did. Okay. Number 2. This one also has a pop culture reference, so here we go.
Oh no, Chelsea always gets
I know,
those.
I should have. Well, Chelsea, if you have telepathic powers, now would be the time to start sending answers to Kelly.
Let me just check my text messages. Nothing from her. Okay.
Number 2, Stonehenge appears prominently and diminutively in this Rob Reiner-directed mockumentary film, and this starch comes from the cassava plant's root and is used to make pudding, bubble tea, and in gluten-free baking.
Spinal tapioca.
Yes, this is spinal tapioca.
Hell yeah.
You see what I did there?
Yay! Phew,
We're back. We did it. Look, whiplash. We're getting our necks are sore. That was so fast.
Okay.
All right. Number 3. This actor portrays adventurer Rick O'Connell and nearly died during filming 1999's The Mummy.
So glad we're talking about this.
Yeah. That's a movie that features Egyptian magic mythology and the Great Pyramid as well. And
also it's just a feast for bisexual eyes.
It's some of the prettiest people who have ever existed, and they're just
everybody.
They're just sweating and glistening, and it's dusty. It's amazing. Yeah, the whole thing.
Flirting over books.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's wearing little or wearing too much, but nobody's in between. It's perfect.
Yep.
So that's the first part. The name of the actor who plays Rick. And
thank you.
And these are the boorish animal mascot for the University of Arkansas.
Oh, Brendan Fraserbacks.
You see what I did there?
Woo pig suey.
This is also a reference to the fact that we were talking about boars on our text chain.
Oh, that's right.
Wild hogs and boars. So I was like, well, I can throw a pig reference in there. We got Razorback.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, number 4. This air and sea space bound by Bermuda, Puerto Rico, and the coast of Florida might be mysteriously powerful, or if you ask Australian scientist Carl Kruzelnicki, it's just a matter of traffic, weather, and human error. And this is the demonym by which residents of the city of Los Angeles can be referred.
I mean, is it Bermuda Triangle? Is that the first
it is
part?
Bermuda Triangle. Uh-huh.
Okay. Bermuda Triangelinos.
You see what I did there? Yes. Bermuda Triangelinos. Yeah.
Oh, I stumbled through the pronunciation.
You see what I did there?
Phew.
Okay, last one, number five. Number five. Plato basically said that runaway capitalistic imperialism led the gods to obliterate this fabled oceanic utopia.
Boy, you really did try to do these easy. And okay, go on, go
And
on.
this is a Netflix series hosted by SNL cast member Mikey Day, on which contestants attempt to identify baked goods disguised as inedible objects.
Lost City of Atlantis, is it cake?
Lost City of Atlantis is cake. Yes. You see what I did
Yay!
there? You did it.
Hooray! It was only mildly humiliating.
Yeah, it was only the first one was the only one you didn't get. And that's me over assuming people's knowledge of Bob Dylan's catalog.
That's embarrassing. I should know more.
Yeah, you should listen to the song later because it's a great song. It's like one of my favorite Bob Dylan songs.
Oh damn! I'm sorry, I didn't know it.
Hey, you don't owe me that.
I like to like the stuff
sure.
my friends like.
No, 100% in full agreement. And in that sort of respect, I think it's time to talk Debs.
How many Debs? How many Debs? How many Debs? How many Debs?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I mean, in terms of mystic places, I gotta go 5. In terms of this book, I gotta go 5. In terms of some of the dorks in this book, I'm gonna go less than 5,
sure.
but I don't think we need to rate them.
Yeah, I fully agree. It's a 5. Like I'm so interested in having the rest of the books now just to get to come through this weird historical record of what people thought things were 40-ish years ago and all of the strange bullshit that we've concocted and all the trouble we've gone to try to solve problems that weren't problems. Like not knowing what things are isn't a problem, but incredible efforts have been undertaken.
And it's also like, yes, incredible efforts. Humans love stories and we love puzzles, and even if finding those answers is futile and wouldn't change anything, even if you did, it's like we're just a curious people, which I think answers the question of what these things are. Like we're just curious. We're just curious folk. And I like that.
We're like
and that like crosses culture, it crosses geography. Like that's just humans. Humans are just curious and storytellers, and that's nice.
It really is, yeah. And we have a tendency to use whatever our contemporary philosophy or idea is as a hammer on every nail that we see in the world.
Truly.
Like, I should measure that. Measuring that means it'll be this, and that means it has to be this. Or I don't believe that vaccines could work, so I should find every bit of evidence that I can that they don't. We're always self-fulfilling our ideas. It's funny because that's
tunnel vision, baby.
Yeah, it's great. It's 5s. It's lovely. It's a gorgeous artifact. It just feels like a hug. It just has that classical, like you would have gone to the library. And maybe as a kid, this would have been one of the books that was like in the corner where you're not supposed, like, these are books for weird people. This is the occult section of the library. Don't be caught over
that's
there.
where I was hanging out.
I mean, you were there. I might have been like, I'm scared. I don't know. But yeah, it's great. It's classic and I love it.
Yeah, I am excited to read the others. I found some guy on Facebook Marketplace was selling these for really cheap. Like you can, I've stumbled upon them a handful of times, but they're usually like $100 for the set. This guy sold me 7 for 14. Whoa. So I was like, yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, I don't care that they smell like cigarettes.
Yeah. Also, like the real mystery of the unknown is that guy. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. He was like 1,000,000 years old. And so he sold me 7 of these books. These are slim books. You mentioned what, 150?
Yeah, they're 150 pages, and they're large profile, so they're narrow. They're like yearbook size
They're narrow.
In their form factor.
Like they do feel like textbooks. And it probably took him 2 solid minutes to get them out of his car because he was so old and frail. And then he was like, I better help you carry these to your car. And I was like, I don't have time for that. I can manage. I can hold these 10 pounds of books just fine.
Very
Thank
cute,
you.
Though, because like chivalry is literally not dead.
I think misogyny is not dead.
I was at the Home Depot here like a couple years ago buying like stone pavers to build a landing in our backyard. And like the older guy working the garden center, who I'm going to guess had to be in his mid to late 70s, was like insisting that he help me load them into the car. And I was like, I got it. I mean, it's going to take like, I'm not going to lift like 12 at a time, but like, it's okay. And he just,
I'm going to do it like they did Stonehenge. I'm going to do it piece by piece.
Yeah. We'll get it in there. And then I'm going to just tip the car over instead of trying to lift the whole car up. I'm not stupid.
That's how I'm going to dump it out into the yard.
Oh, all right. 5s all around.
5s.
For our next episode, we're going to be talking about the first Disney animated feature film, the 1937's Snow White and the 7 Dwarves. And we'll see how that works. There's a good chance there's going to be some stuff that doesn't hold up in there.
That seems like a pretty good bet. I'm going to talk about.
I think is what.
I think you're right.
There's also going to be some misogyny, I'm sure.
I'm looking forward to finding out about stereotypes that I don't even know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm sure that each of the whatever, we'll save it. I'm sure each of the dwarves is going to be problematic in its own unique way. And I'm going to be like, that's a stereotype.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, we know one is called Sneezy. So we're discriminating against people with allergies.
Yep. They're weak.
Yeah. Right. Oh yeah. This is going to be a eugenicist's fable. Which actually it probably is. I don't want to.
God, we'll find out.
Oh God. Okay. So we'll be back for that first Disney animated feature film. If you like this podcast, one thing you can do is email us, debutbuddies@gmail.com. You can tell us. You can just tell us in person. Like tell us, to our faces in the way that digital things work. You're welcome, I guess, to upload like a video of you saying that you like the podcast or you don't like it. That's kind of like a lot of commitment, but it's much less commitment than some people went to decide the pyramids were smaller than their penises. So I don't know. More power to you. In addition to that, we would love if you would give us a review. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Write whatever you want. Talk to us about mysteries of the unknown. If you're familiar, talk to us about mystic places. Maybe you've been through the Bermuda Triangle. Maybe you just like frequently make trips and you're like, yeah, like every time I'm a little weirded out, but it's never gone wrong yet.
Yes. Or have you been through one of the other triangles? Yes. There are a handful of spooky triangles. Tell us.
We need a list of spooky triangles specifically. And if you're really willing to commit to the bit, give us 5 stars, start writing your review about the Bermuda Triangle, and then end it ominously unfinished. I think that would be really great.
Yes.
We want to give the people at Apple something.
Just be like, I think I see Chelsea.
Yeah. How did I get here so fast? If you like the music, it's all Michael J. O'Connor's work. Check out michaeljoconnor.bandcamp.com if you want to listen to his Debut Buddies jingle related content, of which there is a lot, and it is all exceptional. And if you want to read some books, you can check out readspaceboy.com. We are a indie press. We have sort of rebranded as speculative literary fiction because it's not all sci-fi anymore. We've got some thrillers. We've got some weird murder mysteries coming soon where maybe, hey, what if the Muffin Man on Drury Lane got murdered?
I've been calling the Oven Man the Oven Man. Like, do you know?
Do you know him? Man? We do. That's the thing.
I don't know that I do.
We obviously don't. The Oven Man holds mysteries that the Muffin Man could not foretell. But if you want to check that out, go to readspaceboy.com. You can check out Spaceboy books. Do you have any plugs?
And you can follow me on social media at Kelly Attaway.
All right. We will, I think, because there's going to be a little pause, I think, on Never Show the Monster. So
Yes.
what I would like to propose to you now, live on the air, is that maybe we adapt the MouthGarf Report a little bit, and we can talk about a horror movie now and again. So when you see Companion, we can dig in. We can talk about other ones.
Yeah.
See Heretic, we can talk about that too. Just to give it a little life. Keep it going. Keep the torch lit.
We gotta just warn our listeners if we're gonna do spoilers. We gotta be very
This is true.
clear
Yes, listeners,
that they might have to skip the
we
mouth
are.
garf.
Yeah, you might have to skip the MouthGarf, but we'll tell you that we're going to. We
Yeah.
have on previous ones where we spoiled stuff. I'm pretty sure.
I hope so. I hope so.
It's fine. It's fine. Look, they would have unsubscribed if they didn't, and nobody did. They all still love us. And yeah, listeners, thank you for listening to the show. It's so much fun for us to do it, and I certainly hope you get your hands on a Mysteries of the Unknown book. And if you do, again,
Yes.
email us. Let us know which one you got. If you're psyched about something, like, let's talk about it on the show. You can either propose a topic if you love us
Yes.
enough and you like talking yourself and you want to be a guest, hit us up. Let's make
Yeah.
Debut Buddies magic together.
We can make our own mystic place
Yeah.
here on the internet.
Ooh, mystic places are a place on Earth, right? Isn't that?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's how that song goes. So yeah, we'll catch you next time for probably racist dwarf depictions.
Can't wait.
That's right. Yo-ha!
Yo-ha!
Bye, buddies.
Still